Alrighty, of course, another live stream, kind of a short notice one, but as you can see in the title of the stream, it says SpiderGrills Spider22 replaced under warranty. So we're going to do another assembly live stream. So the backstory is Labor Day weekend. Of course, I don't use the grill every weekend. I use other grills. So the one that I use, the Weber 22 with the spider attachment, is kind of like a special occasion type grill for cooking specialty stuff that I like to do on the holiday weekends. So got it out on Saturday, and I did some cooking, the traditional hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff like that, and it worked beautifully. But I do assume that toward the end, when I was shutting it off, is when the problems started to arise. So on Sunday, and Sundays is usually a steak day, so I was cooking steaks. So prior to that, I opened and started up the grill, the pellet adapter grill, and it seemed to have an extremely hard time starting. So eventually it kind of caught, but it wasn't acting right at all, and it was puffing smoke out of the bottom of the power unit, and it was just not coming up to temperature because I set it up to 500 degrees, and it should have had no problem coming up to temperature. Well, eventually it spit and sputtered, and eventually it took off a little bit, but it only got up to about 400 degrees, and that's when I put the steaks on, and I was hoping that it would eventually figure itself out and start working properly again, but it never did. It actually got worse. It actually got so worse that it actually, the flame went out, and it was just puffing smoke out of the bottom. So luckily enough heat was generated to carry the cooking cycle through, and we enjoyed our little steak dinner. So when I was done with that, I went outside and I took it apart and started investigating why it ain't working, and then I found out exactly what happened. So I took some pictures for the warranty claim. So the first picture coming up here, hopefully it comes up. So we'll see if it does come up on its own. I hope it does. So go to the desktop. There we go. So as you see here, this is part of the carnage. So that fan in the middle there, that's supposed to be a white. So all of that right there, that is all grease and cooking fats and all that other stuff. So over here, this is the motor for the auger. So this had some issues in it as well when I bring the details further. But right here, this opening on the lower left here, that is the actual blower unit for the flame. It's basically like a jet engine when the thing is actually working properly. So this is the blower that contributes to that operation. And this motor up here, this is a blower housing for the hopper unit. And I would imagine that this is made for is to keep positive pressure in the sealed pellet chamber hopper to keep the smoke out, or at least some of the smoldering, to a minimum. And that failed catastrophically. So in other pictures here, so here is the actual blower. This is what was left of the fan blades. So these pieces of brown, these two pieces here, there's actually three here. These three pieces here are actually the fan blades. So this thing got so hot inside that it ruined the motor fan blades. So next time it fired up, it actually flung the blades off. So these are the fan blades, what was left. And these are all the charred pellets that found its way inside the unit. They're not supposed to be in there, but they found their way in, which was a part of a problem, which probably created a lot of heat and stuff like that. And then this was the backside of the control board. So all this is all cooking grease and whatever else managed to find its way in there, which is not supposed to be in there. So there was a serious backdraft that was coming in through the unit, and this got hot enough where this board actually shut down and ceased all operations, and that was not a good thing. So there's actually cooking grease on the display side, so it's just about as yellow and tan as the backside here. And inside the hopper, the pellet hopper, this is that other side of that housing that I showed you with that black fan that is mounted sideways, and it's basically just like a computer server fan, and its job is just to blow air up into this hopper unit. I would imagine to keep it. It's supposed to keep the smoke and the heat out of the chamber here, but somehow, some way, pellets managed to combust in here and started smoldering in here. Not to a complete burn, but eventually the pellets smoldered enough where it reached this area here and just melted all of this. And of course, being that the chamber was full, a lot of the pellets fell down through the hole, and I think at one time it actually stopped that fan from actually working properly. So it kind of started the main event of catastrophic failure. So when I took the whole thing apart, of course, here is that blower chamber for the hopper unit. And you can see, yeah, it's just a complete melted mess. So inside here was a lot more pellets before I dumped them all out. Well, everything in there, all them pellets, that is all encrusted in melted plastic. So Sunday afternoon, I actually emailed, actually went and did a service request through SpiderGrills website on Sunday afternoon. Now, granted, this was a Labor Day weekend, and I had no intentions on getting a reply anytime soon, until after the holiday. But miraculously, and I was shocked, within the hour somebody replied, because I sent them all them pictures that I just showed you, and I says, I had a complete meltdown. The unit is no longer operational, and it's the only thing that it's actually useful for is a pile of scrap. So the guy on the other end, he says, don't know what happened. Something must have failed inside the unit, because there should have been no reason why there was such a backdraft that went inside the unit and did all that damage. So something failed, or something stopped working temporarily, and it caused all that damage. So that main blower fan that's actually supposed to make a turbo flame, it actually goes through that one big chamber, funnels down through the chamber and back up through the actual burn chamber, and then it comes out the nozzle. So got a reply. Like I said, I got the reply Saturday afternoon, and within another hour or two, I already had the warranty claim processed, and they were going to ship it out the next business day. So I got the new grill unit, or I should say power unit, yesterday. So I put the claim in Sunday afternoon, and I got the new unit delivered to my door on Thursday. So awesome service from SpiderGrills, even on a holiday weekend. So top notch, and kudos to all the people who are doing the warranty claim. So now that it's here, let's take it out of the box and put it on the grill, and then we're gonna have a little. I already pre-made a little modification for it that I'll show a little bit later in the stream of what I'm going to do to prevent the pellets and any potential of any future smoldering pellets from even reaching the top part of this part. So let's go out and put it together for the second time. So this is how it's going to come when you do buy one of these things. So this thing's about, let's see, it's 24 by 24 by blah, blah, blah. And it's about, I don't know, 44 pounds or something like that. So not overly heavy, but it's kind of awkward to deal with. So let's take it out of the box. Because I never showed of actually taking it out of the box on my other stream or video, whatever I did for it. So you get to see firsthand how it does come in the box. So lots of foam and some plastic and this and that and the other thing. So we get all the, of course, the first thing on the top of the box. This is the actual like burner plate. So the flame hits up on here, and then it gets distributed on the outside of the grill. Of course, we got our destruction manual. It says, thank you for ordering from SpiderGrills. We're a small and upcoming group. So this place was founded in, I believe, 2019. So we are a small and upcoming group of engineers dedicated to helping you take your grilling to the next level. And let me tell you, when you cook something on this, it is a different experience cooking on this. 5-star reviews, of course, you know, leave your 5-star reviews on Amazon or through SpiderGrills, blah, blah, blah. So they get the ultimate review of having a live stream for the second time and or video. So this is going to go inside the grill. So that's that part. And now more foam. And it's actually all together. So we'll have to start cutting the box apart. Make it a little easier to get it out. So it comes with a little, this is the brush that goes to clean out your burn chamber in case you get excess buildup of ash or soot or whatever. So inside here is the actual unit. I'll have to cut another side down. So here is the main power unit. So this is the thing that burned to the ground from the inside out. Then we have our little foot that I managed to put on backwards the first time. So I actually had the foot on backwards. So I had the foot sticking out to the side, and it's supposed to be facing in. So we got a bunch of hardware in here. So we got the temperature probe for the controller. We got the drip chamber, and we got some thumb screws and some other stuff in there, some washers and stuff like that. So we'll deal with that in a little bit. So we'll get this cardboard out of the way. Okay, so this is the foot. So when I had this mounted on the other one, I had it kicked out like this. So it's supposed to be kicked in like that. So that's about the only mistake I actually did of assembling the other one. So now we'll get the power unit out. So here is the main power unit. Of course, the heart of the whole thing is this burned chamber in here. So this is the actual burn chamber inside here. So the pellets and the hot surface igniter are all in there, and the pellets drop in there, and the air comes in from several different holes throughout the entire surface or circumference of the burn chamber, and it sends all the air, and a big flame will come shooting out of here when this thing is running at full bore. So that's the burn chamber, and then to dump out the ashes, here's the actual burn cup. So not much ashes do accumulate in here. You get a long service time before you have to clean it out. So, you know, more than likely at the end of each use and after this thing cools down, it's probably wise to empty that anyway, just so it doesn't hold on to moisture and stuff like that. So we'll cut the little zip tie off, holding the power cord off. Get that out of the way. So here's the control panel. So you got temperature ratings from smoke all the way up to about, it's a little over 500 degrees. I've seen this thing go up to about 600 degrees, but that's probably too hot for this. So probably more than likely I'll never go past 450, just in case this thing wants to go into a thermal nuclear meltdown again. So here's your hopper chamber for your pellets, and it's got this same construction in it, so the same thing. So I'm going to perform a little mod in there, and I'm ready for it. So they say when you operate this thing, you know, never open this chamber when it's running. And the reason why they say that is just in case you do have smoldering pellets inside. That fan is to keep that suppressed. So once you open this, you basically, that fan inside the bottom here is pushing air out, and if there's anything burning in there, you know, it could ignite, and you'll have a little surprise of a flame shooting out at you. So they say always keep this closed. Of course, it's going to run for quite a length of time, depending on the temperature and the kind of pellets that you run in it and stuff like that. So that is that. So our next step is we're going to take our power unit here, and we're going to slide it over the foot. So we'll step on it and get the cord out of the way. So we got several different slots here. We got 3 slots on each side. So, and 2 pins here, and the mounting screw to lock it down once you settle in on a height. So we'll get the pins lined up. Same thing on this side. So that's that. So that's the first step here. So then we're going to go into our hardware bag. We're going to find them little nuts, thumb screws, or whatever you want to call them. So here's our little thumb screws that we're going to put on each side. I'll get them out of the bag. And all the hardware is stainless steel, so you ain't got to worry about rusting, at least for the hardware. So we'll get these started. So this is going to be like a support after it's hanging off the grill. So it's going to hang off of these two clips up here, and the base of it is just to secure it to the ground. Okay, that's that. So we'll move the rest of this stuff out of the way for a minute. So the next step is to basically get your kettle grill and get that ready for mounting. So on my last video, I had this mounted to the right. So normally they want you to mount it to the back. So if you have a normal kettle grill, your standard everyday kettle grill, you're not going to have this one, this bracket. So this is a Master Touch. So this one has this lid holding bracket for holding the lid up when you're opening it. So I don't really want to take that out. So the last time I mounted it to the right hand side, if you're looking at the grill, where the normally the ash cleaning devices. So the only thing you got to do prior to putting this on is take your ash pan assembly off. So all it is just 3 little clips that just plug into the inside of each legs. So you just reach up after the pan is off and just bend them in a little bit, just enough for it to clear it, and that whole ring will drop right off. So like I said, I had the other one mounted on the right, but I'm going to leave the handle on the right hand side. I'm going to put it on the left hand side because it doesn't really matter, because you can put this on, it's got 3 holes, so you got 3 options to mount this thing. So for me, really, I only got 2 options, unless I want to take that bracket apart and mount it like that. So really the only thing we got to do is just basically hang this thing off the edge of the grill. So we'll tighten this up so it doesn't flop all over the place. So what we're going to do is we're going to line it up, line that nozzle up with one of the holes on the bottom of the grill. So you'll have to find a sweet spot, and it should just pivot right in there. And of course, for me, the bottom of the holder is in my way, so that's preventing me from, there we go, preventing me from swinging that in. So we just find that sweet spot where it will just swing right in there. And these can be adjusted too. So these have to be adjusted to basically hug. So this part here is going to hug the bowl tightly. So So this can be adjusted up or down. So I think on the other one I pretty much had them all the way down. So we'll start at that point. But before I do put it on, I want to do an additional little mod. So for me, I got to move it around. So I want to keep that from flopping around. So I had plenty of parts from the other carcass. So I took one of the hopper buckles and I took it off, because we're going to reuse this for a little mod. So I moved this around. I have to put it away so it has to travel a little bit. So when you pick this up and move it, this thing can just pivot and it dislodges the placement. So for temporary, but when I had the other one, I just had like a S hook and a piece of wire, and I tied it against the opposing leg of the grill. So I'm going to take the latch and I'm going to put and use this little drain hole, and we're going to attach this part here to keep it from, for me, keep it from pivoting. So I'm going to put that in. And I'm not going to go crazy tightening stuff like that. It's just going to be, it is what it is. It's just going to be there hanging out, because it's not critical that this thing has to be tight. So just finger tight, that's it. So I'm done with that little mod. So we'll put the nozzle in. So the nozzle is slanted. So you want to have the taller part of the nozzle going up the side of the bowl. So basically it's going to go, the long side is going to go toward the hopper. So put it in there, give it a little twist, and now we can officially install this and get it ready to go. So I got that all the way up, and it should just pivot right in. So you got to find the little sweet spot, and you'll see it'll flop right in there. So that's basically all that you really need to do. And then all the other thing is, once it is placed, if you have this in a permanent location, all you got to do is just drop this and lock it down, and you're done. And that's all that's to it of mounting this up. So like I said, I move mine around so it's going to flop around. But if you're careful, you can move it around a little bit without having it tip over on you and stuff like that. Of course, once you have all the accessories and stuff like that in there, it's more rigid and more heavy, so it won't tip over on you. So for me, to keep it from moving around and pivoting, which it's already starting to do, so I'll get my nozzle locked back in there. So that's locked. So now, do I still have the wire in here? Yep. So for me, all I did was take a piece of wire. I'll have to undo it because it was on the other leg. That was some stout wire. So all I did was take a piece of wire, and I think this was like aluminized wire or something like that. So I'll move that back over there, make sure it's still in the slot there. So all I'm going to do is take this piece of wire, throw it through the hole here. I made like I folded it over in half. So all I'm going to do is put the free ends around the wire, around the loop. I'm going to use this to cinch it up. Of course, you could probably use a little piece of little chain or something like that, but this is what I have available. So this is what I'm going to use. And just wrap it around itself. So now I'll take the wire and I'll wrap it around with a little utensil, just so that it tightens up on itself. So I'll use like a screwdriver or something like that, or a pair of pliers. And that'll keep it from kicking out on you. Because once it kicks out, then you got to basically take the whole thing apart, just to make sure that you still got it in the hole. So this prevents that from doing that. So I'm just going to take this. I need to find something probably smaller. This is probably one mod that SpiderGrills should re-engineer, is have a mounting spot, just kind of like this, just to keep it from kicking out on you. So that's one little mod that I thought of that comes in real handy, because now you can jockey this around quite roughly now, and it's not going to kick out on you. So I'm happy with that. And of course, now that that's solidly secure now, I almost don't even need to have this foot all the way down to the ground, because around in my establishment, the ground is not level at all. So I'm going to suck mine up like that. I'm happy with that. I'm satisfied with that. So that's good enough for me. And then the plug has a little safety protector on there. So now, all that is left to do is take your drip pan slash heat diffuser, and right here it's pressed in the metal. That's actually the grease drain. So there's a little slot in there that the grease runs down, collects here, and then drips down, goes through that little chutes and ladders thing there, and then you use a soda can for a drip container. So we'll take the little drip thing out on the plastic, and this is kind of a little trick that you got to do too, is you got to hold it in there while you fish it through the hole. So it's got to go in a certain way. So you got to find the slot, and basically it does this. So that's what it should look like. So this is going to go in one of the other adjacent holes, ash holes, to use as a drip container. So you got to hold it with your thumb, because it won't stay on its own. Actually, that's not right. That's backwards. So this has got to face on the inside. So like that. And then you got to feed it through one of the other holes. And this sits on where the charcoal grate normally sits. So all you got to do is just line it up, and it'll just stay there after that. So all you got on the other side is a little hook on the other side where the hole is. So there's the little hook. So all you need to do is get a soda can, and just straighten out the top, just like that. And the the mouth of the can goes toward the center of the grill, so that's where it's going to catch the grease. And you just hang it right there. So that's your grease catch can. So other than that, you're almost ready to start grilling here. And of course, when you're done, you can put your normal cooking grate in, but our last step here is to actually hook up the temperature probe. So we'll take that out of the bag. So the temperature probe plugs into the control panel, and this is what tells the system how much pellet to feed to keep the fire burning. So you've got 3 sets of holes, so find the closest set of holes that fit the probe, like that. And they want you to have the probe closest to your cooking area. So wherever you're going to have your food cooking, they suggest that you have the probe somewhere in the area. And all you do is pinch it in between the grate and just let go, and that's how it stays there. So you just unfurl the wire. Get all the twists and knots out of it. So we're going to pretend that the grate is in there. You're going to find a little happy spot for it. Put it in there, squeeze it. It'll just hang out in there. And then the rest of this, just take the little dust plug off and just plug it in there. So the probe does have to be in there for the thing to operate. Otherwise, if it's not in there, the unit will not operate at all. Or if it is operating and gets pulled out, it will shut down on its own. So now on to the little modification here. So inside here, of course, you've probably already seen the, maybe not, you haven't seen it. I'll have to show you what it looks like unburned, which is quite a fat. So let's see, I get you a flashlight. So I'll take you out of the stand. And I'll never put you in the same spot again. So there's what it looks like when it's not burned. So that is the little burn chamber or hopper positive pressure chamber that we're going to put a little baffle in there. And as you can see on the very bottom in there, there's the auger. So that's what feeds the pellets inside the machine. So this whole area inside here at one time was just a smoldering mess in here. And of course the pellets found their way halfway up that air chamber there and created havoc. So now I'll show you the little mod I did for it that we're just going to place in there for the time being to stop it from burning. So I made a paper template of the inside of that hopper chamber, and eventually I come to be with this piece. So I'll show you a little video clip of the what I did to accomplish that. So we'll get it out of here and we'll go over to this one. Hopefully you can hear it. I hope there's audio. So, in the midst of presenting another meltdown. So, if you don't know the story, or if I haven't already told you at the beginning of the assembly video, or second assembly video. So right now I'm showing you the actual burned unit, just in case there's not any audio. Grill pellet adapter, and it suffered a huge meltdown. So a lot of parts inside were oh, there is audio. Okay. Damaged, like the, so I don't have to talk. Blower fan for my pre-recorded self can do all the talking. What I think initiated the failure is this melted piece here. So this is a blower housing for the pellet hopper. So there's a fan in here, and this is up in and underneath the pellet hopper, and this blows air into the hopper, and I would imagine it keeps it positive pressure, and if anything starts to smolder and or smokes, it goes out through the auger opening, to my best guess. So what happened was this thing got hot enough where the pellets inside the hopper started to burn, and of course this thing was on the left side of the hopper if you're looking down in it. So the pellets were starting to smolder, and they started creeping their way up, and of course it found its way up to this area here. So this whole area was underneath smoldering pellets inside the hopper. So when the plastic melted, and yes, this is plastic, I don't know why, it is, melted the plastic, so this whole thing was covered with a top like that, you know, for air holes. So when this melted, I think what happened is that some of the pellets fell down inside, and of course they were encased in melted plastic, but I think more pellets actually stopped the fan, and I think that's what led to the catastrophic failure of the whole unit. Because like I said, the main blower fan housing, this is the control panel side. There's a fan motor that would be here. This would be the auger motor and housing, and this here is the punch out for the igniter. So on the bottom side here, if you look at the bottom side, the auger would be feeding pellets into this chamber, which is the burn chamber. So that little cup goes on top of that, or underneath of it if it's in the other direction. But in this area here, this is where the fan blades were, and of course the fan blades were plastic. So this thing got hot enough where the high heat damaged the plastic, and eventually the motor was still spinning, but it flung the blades right off. So it had a complete failure. So no blower, this thing will not blow air through this chamber. So the way this thing works is the cover that's on here is another chamber that's got an air gap around it, so air goes up through this blower housing here, comes back down between the housing and this housing, and then gets blown up straight to make the jet flame for the thing to work. And of course the nozzle would be here, and it would be shooting flames up. So what I'm going to do is, what I want to do is, inside here, on the left here, so if you're looking at this as the operator, that melted blower housing was on the left, so there's an opening in there, so I don't know if you can see it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a metal baffle and prevent any pellets from even sitting on top of that, and even if they do in an event start to burn in here, it won't catch that plastic and melt that plastic and make another meltdown, and resulting to that. So we're going to prevent this. So what I have done ahead of time is I made a paper cardboard template. So this is the profile of the inside that pellet hopper. So as you can see, I scabbed a couple of different pieces, because you know that's just the way you do cardboard cutouts. You scab it together and eventually make a shape that you need. So this is the shape that I need. So I need a piece of metal to make this. So if you recognize the assembly video, you know that this is the foot of the previous model here. So off camera, this would be the foot that would hold the whole thing up off the ground. So I literally cut it in half just so I could get this piece here. So I cut it in half, and then under here I cut this away, cut this away, cut this away. Then I started grinding all the welds and snap it off, which gave me this piece. So that's the piece that I salvaged from the other side of this thing. And of course this side has a little bend in it to give it some strength. So I just took it on my nice awesome asphalt here that's all heaved, and put the piece on the heave part and pounded it flat. So now we're going to cut it out. So I'm going to use a good old right angle grinder. So we need a cutting wheel. So this is a grinding wheel on here because this is the last thing that I was using to grind that off. So normally I would use an abrasive wheel, but I decided to try something different because them abrasive wheels really don't last very long. So I went on the jungle site and I got some of these diamond encrusted rev starts. So this is supposed to be good for supposedly 5,000 cuts. 100 times longer life for metal, stainless steel, aluminum, and copper use. So 1,300, 200 RPM. So you know, if you got an angle grinder that goes faster than that, don't put it on, because you know, you might get a. I don't know if you ever see that one YouTube short with the Japanese guy, and he's got the abrasive wheel stuck in his hard hat because it broke off. So we're going to put this on the D-wall here, and we're going to cut this pattern out that I used a paint marker on. So we'll take this wheel off. So this thing has an arrow on it, so we want to follow the arrow. There should be an arrow on here somewhere of the rotation of this. And amazingly, this does not have a little arrow on it for rotation. Usually they have like, oh, there it is. It's very almost non-existent on the end of the plastic there. Unbelievable. So there's a little arrow on here, so we're going to match the arrows. I'll get my paint marker and actually highlight that direction arrow, because that's handy. So we need to take our flat side. This is a flat disc, and so it works on cutting wheels. And we're going to tighten it up. That's ready to go. So we're cutting with metal, and we're going to have sparks. So definitely want safety glasses. So I'm going to go get a battery and some safety glasses, and I'll be right back. And you can stare at that. Work with metal. Make sure you put your safety glasses on. So otherwise you'll get a piece of metal stuck in your eye. And if you're lucky, you only need a little bit of an ointment to get your irritation out. But sometimes, and well, I was told that sometimes if you get a piece of metal in your this thing even on? Hello, let's see. See, that's on. That's on. That's weird. Microphone disconnected. Why is it disconnected? Let's see. We got mic on our phone now? No? I think it's on. No, it's not. What the hell? Oh, we got. Oh, yeah, there we go. So I don't know how long that was off. So if you lost some audio, I was just showing you how the box melted down, and we're gonna make a baffle in there. So we're gonna cut this out. So I just got some safety glasses because you're dealing with metal, and if you get a piece of metal in your eye, sometimes your eye can heal overnight, and yet a little piece of metal will get trapped in your eye, and then sometimes you have to go to a doctor and have your eye drilled to get that piece of metal out, because you may think that your eye is all right the next morning, but really that metal's still in there. So anytime you get a piece of metal in your eye, it's probably best to go see an eye doctor right away to make sure that piece of metal is out of your eyeball, or at least put your safety glasses on so you ain't got to worry about that. So we're going to cut this pattern out. So we'll go over to the next clip here, and I won't show you all of me cutting. We'll go over to the cutting the whole thing out, because it gets kind of lengthy and kind of boring, and nobody wants to watch it anyway. So I'll bring it to the very end clip here, and we'll check out the remainder of the me finishing up the grinding and this and that and the other thing. Okay, that's better. So all I got to do now is just basically just tap it in there. Once I get the new unit in there, and then just put this in it. So that's basically what it's going to look like in there. So it's going to be, let me see if I can take you out. Let's see, you're going to slide out. Put you on autofocus. So that's what it's going to look like in there. So, like I said, the this left side, because you really can't see anything because everything is black. There we go. That might be a little better. Of course, now I can't see, but that's basically what it's going to look like in there. So this area is going to be the pellet side, and then this side, that's going to be that that blower chamber in there. And we're going to, it goes all the way down to the bottom where the it starts to funnel in for the auger. So that's pretty good. Of course, once I get the new unit, I can do a little bit more grinding and stuff like that. So we just use this one as a template to make a baffle for the for that blower unit in there, and to keep the smoldering pellets out. So that'll be a good thing. Probably a little bit of a better design to monkey with that. So with that, we'll continue on with the remaining of the build, or however I decide to insert this into the video. Of course, this will be a live stream type thing. So we'll continue on from this moment on. So we'll see you in the next segment. So there you have it, the little modification baffle little thingy here that I'm going to use for the baffle thing here. So we're going to stick this in the new unit. And I think I got some of that high temperature silicone that I can use to make up the difference for any gaps that are in the hopper chamber there, because you know it's probably made a little different and so stuff like that. So let's go out and stick that in there, and that's probably going to pretty much wrap up this particular live stream. So let's go out to the unit and stick this baffle in. Let's see how well it fits in there. So I need some light so I can see what I'm doing. So where did I put that little bugger? I don't know where it went. Somewhere, little flashlight disappearing. Oh well. Let me get something else. So we'll stick this in there. Something like that. Ooh, that fits nice. So a little bit of a gap in there, but that's not a problem. I can seal that up. But that's pretty much how it's going to be in there, so that's good. I'm going to push it all the way over to that chamber. So that's good. Stick that in there like that. And then the air can still come up through the top here. So the air is going to come through the top and then push its way down in. So that's a lot better design, just in case any pellets do find their way to catch fire in there, and this will prevent at least pellets from melting that plastic in there. So that's probably a design change that SpiderGrills should follow and prevent that, because I think they had an earlier design where they had that chamber come up to the top almost, but it was still made of plastic. So I think that's a bit better design, and of course I can seal the gaps up with some silicone, because I didn't. This one's a little bit bent different, so that's to be expected. But the overall, that's what I was. That was my intentions of having that that baffle in there to prevent any further issues with that potential problem. So that is that for that little bugger. So I can briefly go over the operation of this thing. So the first time firing this up is going to be your little bit of a challenge sometimes. So what I come up with is to plug the device in and put it on smoke, just so that the auger can start turning in there. And then you can take the burn chamber out, and you can either hold the burn chamber with your hand until you start seeing pellets come out, and then you can turn it back off, and you might have to do it a couple of times to make sure the pellets are feeding nicely in there. So that's all you got to do is turn it on. Of course, it sounds like a jet engine when it's running, and while it's heating up in there, that auger is starting to turn. And at first it's very slow at first how it feeds. So I don't know if this has a timeout after a while, but I don't know if you can see that auger turning in there, but it's turning pretty slow. So you'll have to wait until the pellets start dropping out of the bottom and stuff like that. But in the meantime, that you also want to be careful of where you're sticking your fingers, because that hot surface igniter is lit. So that's gonna, if you get your fingers up too far up in that burn chamber, you're gonna get some burnt fingers. So just have a bowl or a cup or something, and just hold it on the bottom. You know, just have a bowl under here until pellets start flowing out nicely. And it won't take long. It only takes a couple of cycles sometimes. But that's all it is to take this, to light it up. And then after you got it running, of course you want to make sure that's closed at all times, because that's part of the system of keeping the burner going good. So when you turn it off, you'll see a little number come up, 15 minutes. So that's the 15-minute cool down. All the fans, the hopper fan and the main burn chamber fan will continue to run, but the auger stops turning, and then after 15 minutes it'll shut off on its own. So that's cooling the burn chamber. It's cooling that hot surface igniter and stuff like that. So that's all to it for this Spider grill here. So I did my little modification. Like I said, I need to get some of that high temperature silicone and just put some in there and be done with that. I think there is some nearby. the last time I seen it, because it was approved for like it's silicone grade caulk for burn chambers. So I don't know exactly where it went, but I know it's around here somewhere to seal that up, but it's not really critical to seal that at the moment because it's still pretty tight in there. So after 14 minutes, that'll shut off on its own. So with that, we'll come back and wrap this up for the live stream, because it's been going on for a little over an hour, which is good enough for my sense of viewerships, because there's not many of them out. But I do have an update. I did use my temperature spike that I had a video on. This thing, I like this thing. This thing is pretty darn good. I was cooking split chicken, jammed that probe in there, cooked it to 165. It cooks it to about 170, so it gives you a little bit of that grace period in there, and it turned out perfectly. And I didn't lose any connection on it, and it worked perfectly. And I can't say anything bad about it. It works pretty good for the temperature probe. So, but I did verify with a regular meat thermometer to make sure it was accurate, and it was, because I had a different one, and a couple of times it was nowhere near done and stuff like that. So you want to be careful with, especially when you're cooking poultry and stuff like that, that you don't get the chicken viruses or anything like that. So with that, we'll end this live stream here. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.